Today's video is very reminiscent of like 2020 Ashley, where I just kind of sat in my room, played in makeup, and did a full face of first impression. So grab your matcha tea, water, whatever you drink. Today I have my little cafecito here. It's gonna make for a really good video. So let's zoom in and let's get started.
One step forward, two steps backwards, yeah. In much short lover who don't use big.
Now I know what some of you guys are thinking, who is she? She didn't sit down and do like a long drawn out intro for like 3 minutes. If there's anything I learned from short form content over the years is that no one cares. No one wants to hear me talk for 3 minutes straight and tell them to subscribe to my channel. So we're just skipping all of that today. I'm jumping straight into face primer. This is by Refi. This is the Glow and Sculpt face primer. So think jade roller and face primer all in one. I really love the way that my skin looks and feels after applying this. I'm also gonna go in with some lip balm by Summer Fridays. This one is in the shade Vanilla. Definitely one of my favorite lip balms that I have to have on hand at all times. Now, I'm definitely breaking out, so I'm gonna throw it back to this product. This isn't like a first impressions. I did try this out in the past. This is a concealer by Rem Beauty. It's in the shade Light 7C, and I'm actually gonna use this as a color corrector. I was recently decluttering my foundation and concealers, and I came across this again, so I really wanted to play around with it and retry it out because it's been a few months since I last used it. My skin's breaking out a ton, so I'm really just using this to spot conceal before I go in with foundation. I really like the color too because it is more of a peachy tone concealer. It gives high coverage. It's gonna cancel out any discoloration that I have in these areas, so that's why I'm just going in lightly and just kind of stippling it. If you guys been following me for a while, then you know I was really into color corrector years and years ago. And I feel like as my skin changes and as it breaks out all over again after having my son, it's something I'm reincorporating into my routine. I'm also gonna take a little bit of this underneath my eyes because I mean, that's what it's meant for. And why not? I have a little bit of discoloration here, so just lightly gonna tap it and then buff and blend it out with a more fluffy brush. Not gonna lie, you guys, I'm pretty obsessed with this concealer. I love what it did to my skin. It really covered up all of my acne scarring and imperfection. It blended really nicely into the skin and it doesn't look heavy at all. I knew I liked this the first time I tried it, but because it got pushed in the back of my makeup drawer, I completely forgot about it, but this definitely is something I'm gonna put back into my everyday makeup bag because it really just worked wonders for my skin. Let's go ahead and move on. I do have some liquid luminizers by Juvia's Place that I got in the mail. I have two shades, Ivory Light, and Starstruck. These are the two shades right here. This one is Ivory Light and this one is Starstruck. I feel like Starstruck is just a little too icy, so I'm gonna go in with Ivory Light and I'm gonna swatch them on my hand. Ooh, okay you guys, this looks really pretty. This is very reminiscent of the Rare Beauty liquid luminizers that I was obsessed with for such a long time. What I'm gonna do with this product, just to make it look a little bit more natural, is I'm gonna put it here on the highest points of my cheekbones. And the reason I like to do this is because, like I said, I want it to be a little bit more natural. Sometimes applying this directly over top of foundation can look a little iffy. So I'm gonna take more of a dense brush and I'm gonna blend it out. And I will say this is beautiful. Look at that. Another thing I'm really liking about this liquid luminizer is that it's melting into the skin. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top of the skin and it doesn't look like chunky glitter. The pearls in this are very fine. Honestly, I may even take just like a little bit and put it over top of foundation, but we'll see. So for foundations, I have two different options. I have this one here by Patrick Ta. This is the Cream and Powder Duo. This one is in the shade Light Medium. I did swatch it and it's looking like it's gonna be a little too dark for me, so I may save this for when I'm self-tan. I'm gonna self-tan later tonight, so you guys may see this in my next video. I have another option here though. This one is by Revlon. This is the Illuminant Skin Caring Foundation. It has 5% squalene and hyaluronic acid. I have the shade 201. This one is more of a creamy natural shade, so let's test this out to see how it goes. To be fair, I haven't tested out a drugstore foundation in a really long time. This one is fluid, but it's not too fluid. Definitely has more of a medium consistency, so I'm gonna pick up a little bit of this and we're just gonna go in. It is looking a little light, but I think I can make it work. with bronzer. I'd rather go just a little bit too light and bronze up the skin as opposed to going in with something too dark. To be fair, I'm honestly really liking the overall coverage of this. Like, I know it's not giving full coverage, but it still looks really pretty and just kind of like overall natural on the skin, if that makes any sense. If you're looking for a really like skin loving foundation, this may be a good one for you. It definitely covered up my redness, but my skin still looks like skin. Just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna go in with the shade 209, just for shade comparison purposes. This one is in the shade Buff Beige. Typically I am a little bit more buff beige. Ooh, Creamy Natural is looking like a little cooler. So let's see how this one applies on the skin. Both still look a little on the light side, if I'm being honest, but maybe not. I feel like once I blend it into the skin, it just kind of works. One thing I will say about this foundation is that I feel like it's kind of hard to make it look bad. Like, it blends very pretty into the skin. It doesn't look heavy or anything like that. I definitely feel like this is not a foundation you would want to reach for if you want like a full coverage type of look, because I feel like no matter how much I put on, it still looks very skin-like. So if that's something you're going for, you may really like this. But another thing is like, I'm kind of getting the itch a little bit. And I don't know if it's just me, but anytime I get the itch, I get a little nervous. Is it gonna break me out? Like, what's happening? We'll see how I wake up in the morning. I was gonna play around with this concealer, but I got to swatching it and it just looks very yellow on my skin. So instead, I'm gonna go in with my tried and true concealer. This one is by Dior. It's a skin crack concealer. This is just a concealer that I know works for me every single time. I'm also gonna take some here just because I feel like I need a little bit more coverage in this area. I feel like the foundation was just very, very natural looking, but we want full glam, baby. I definitely feel like adding this concealer by Dior just kind of took it there. Like, I wasn't really sure how I felt about my base makeup so far, but after adding a little bit more coverage, I'm definitely feeling it. Like, I could see the vision. Now, because we definitely are playing in makeup a little bit, I kind of want to test the waters, and I do want to try out this Patrick Ta duo, but I'm not going to test it out how I usually would. I'm actually going to go in with a damp sponge with a little bit of that product, and since this is a little too deep for my skin right now in this moment, I'm going to use it to just add some warmth and color back into my skin. So I'm going to take this around the perimeter of my face. It's actually a really nice color. It's just like a smidge too dark for me, but I feel like going in with a little bit of this in certain areas of my face so that way I don't look ghostly, it just looks really, really pretty. I actually really, really like the way that this looks, so I'm gonna do the same thing to this side, and really I'm only using a little bit of this product. I was not aware like how full coverage it actually is. A little bit goes a very long way. So I'm kind of just tapping it around the perimeter of my face. I'm not taking it in the center because we did go in with a lighter concealer to highlight, and overall, I feel like this is kind of bringing me back to life. Like, I feel like the foundation from Revlon was just a smidge too light, whereas the one from Patrick Ta was a smidge too dark. I feel like the combo between the two just kind of look really, really good. Whatever I have left on my sponge, I'm just gonna kind of buff and blend it down my neck. How crazy is it that my Apple Watch left a tan line on my wrist? Crazy. By the way, thanks for all the love you guys gave me on my video where I showcased 7 makeup techniques that are making you look old. I definitely wanted to just kind of highlight some things that I used to do in my 20s that no longer look good on me now that I'm in my 30s. And I feel like a lot of you guys really, really enjoyed that video. By the way, I'm going in with a little bit of loose powder. This one is by Laura Mercier. It's the Ultra Blurring Powder, and I'm using this to set underneath my eyes. I'm also gonna dust a little bit onto my eyelids. Anyways, another new product that I have is this one here by Pixi. This is the On The Glow Bronze. It's supposed to be a tinted moisture stick, and the shade that I have here is Rich Glow, which, ooh, this kind of looks like it's gonna be a little too dark. Actually, it's very, very sheer, so this may work. I'm gonna twist it up. It kind of reminds me of a deodorant, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna take this straight onto the skin. I'm a little nervous that I might mess up my makeup because I don't know if this is gonna mesh well with the foundation. I'm gonna pin my hair back just a little bit more. One thing I'm really noticing about this stick here is that it's very reminiscent of, I wanna say like the Makeup by Mario's Skin Enhancer. It kind of reminds me of a balm, like very much that, a tinted balm. It doesn't have much coverage to it, but it's adding really pretty warmth to the skin. I don't recommend going in with this product straight onto the skin because it will disturb whatever's underneath, but going in with a brush and then buffing and blending it into the skin, it looks really good. Actually, let me switch to a bigger brush because this little thing ain't doing it. I switched over to my Makeup by Mario brush, which is perfect for a product like this. Yeah, I definitely feel like applying it with a brush just blends into the skin so much better. And again, it's very reminiscent of the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I just kind of hate that it is in this deodorant type of packaging. I thought I was really gonna like it, but the formula doesn't really work well with this kind of packaging, in my opinion, but really, really pretty. This side, I have a little bit of the bronze stick, whereas this side, I have absolutely nothing. I think it gave my skin the prettiest amount of warmth and it really just melted into my skin, like looks really good. So just by swatching that onto the skin, I will say it's a product that just feels a little sticky to touch. So I'm gonna take it a step further and I am gonna powder it down just a little bit with a bronzer. I'm gonna use this one here by Patrick Ta Beauty and I'm only gonna take the bronzing shade and I'm gonna dust just like a little bit directly over top just so that way it's not as sticky. I will say one thing I really like about this bronzer or tinted balm stick is that it has a really nice luminous glow to it. So it's just definitely giving summer vibes. Like I just laid on the beach, like really, really pretty. Let's go ahead and jump into blush. I do have some blushes here from Catrice, all of which were sent to me in PR. When I opened this up, one thing that I realized is that they launched matte blushes and they also launch luminous blushes. So I'm gonna take out the glow blushes really quickly because I do still wanna maintain that really pretty luminosity to the skin. So I have this shade here. This one is Rosy Love. I also have this one called Coral Sky. And then last but not least, I have Cloud Wine. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go in with this one, Rosy Love. I've definitely been more into rosy tone blushes. So let's see what it's all about. I'm gonna use my Reef by brush and I'm just gonna swirl the brush in there and then apply this right here and onto my cheeks. Definitely wanna get just like a little closer. Oh girl, this is pretty. So I'm actually gonna switch brushes just because I really wanna focus a little bit more higher up here. And I feel like that is a little harder to do with my Reef by brush, but I love the color. It's so cute. One thing I will say is I am definitely a fan. Like, so pretty, so pretty. I can't wait to try out the matte ones, but today I'm only gonna try out the luminous one. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my Kosas powder and I'm gonna powder it down a little bit. I kind of feel like I gave myself more of a bronzer helmet. One thing I like about this powder is that it's so fine, so it's not really adding additional coverage. Really, it's just setting everything down and in place. Let's go ahead and get into the eyes. I feel like I haven't played with eyeshadow in so long. I'm gonna go in with my Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. I talked about this in the past. It's one that I really like. It's very milky in consistency, so it's not gonna add a ton of coverage. I love just how it blends out and I love how my eyeshadows wear on top of it. The eyeshadow palette I'm gonna use today is this one here by Sigma. I'm really excited about this palette. I feel like it has a good mixture of shades. I'm gonna take the shade here called Virgo, which is definitely more of kind of like a peachy tone eyeshadow. And I'm gonna take this into my crease. One thing I do know about Sigma eyeshadows is that they are very buildable, they're very pigmented, and they're very forgiving. I feel like this is a very, very forgiving formula whenever it comes to eyeshadows. Sometimes I feel like when eyeshadows are super pigmented all at once, they can be a little difficult to work with, and I don't feel that way about Sigma palettes. I've had this in my collection for a while, which I did talk about in my recent eyeshadow palette declutter, but I definitely wanted to give myself some time to play around with it. I love the versatility of this palette. So it has like your warm tones, but you also have colors in there. So I feel like this is a palette I can get a lot of use out of. Next shade I'm going to take is a shade called Cinnamon Roll. It definitely is more of like a pukey tone eyeshadow. I'm going to take just a little bit of that and I'm slowly going to work up the outer V. I do want this to be deeper, but I want to take my time with it and really just build on the eyeshadow. So far, everything is blending really, really nice, like really pretty. Colors are melting together, but what did I really expect? I feel like Ann Cook is someone I used to look up to for a long time. I used to get a lot of inspo from her tutorials and just create various makeup looks. One thing about this palette is that it doesn't really have any mauve tone, so I'm just going to go into my blush shade, and I'm actually going to use this on my eyes just to kind of tie into the look. I'm going to take this and I'm really just going to buff and blend it into like the very inner 1/3 of my crease. And this is just like a little trick I like to do if I want my makeup look to look a little bit more cohesive. I'll just take that blush and just rock it right up in here. And you can see already it's looking a lot better. I'm gonna pick up this shade here in the bottom corner, and really, I'm just gonna tap this in the outer V. I said I wanted smoke, and this is really the shadow to do it with. I'm honestly really, really impressed with the overall formulation. I'm not really getting much fallout at all. I was a little nervous because I jumped into my base makeup as opposed to going in with my eyeshadow, but girl, no issues at all. I'm also gonna take the shade called July 11th, and I'm gonna put it right here on my lower lash line, but I'm not dragging it all the way in. I'm only going about halfway. Then I'm taking the shade called Virgo, and I'm buffing and blending it on the very lower lash line and just melting it into the color called July 11th. I'm going in with a fluffy brush too because I want everything to just melt and blend very effortlessly. So a color I've been looking at ever since I opened up this palette is this one here. It's called Vachand, and it is definitely more of a deeper color, but it pulls a little bit more pink. So I'm gonna tap this all over the eyelid. Ooh, it's so pretty. Another thing about Sigma eyeshadow palettes is that the shimmers are next level, just like unreal. I definitely feel like applying that blush in the very inner 1/3 of the crease was such a good move because it's definitely bringing out the pink tones within that eyeshadow. It looks really pretty. I'm just going in with a little bit more of that blush, and I'm blending it right above that shimmer. So for liner, I have the 24/7 Inks by Urban Decay. Typically, I wouldn't go in with a liquid eyeliner, but for the purpose of trying it and testing it out in today's video, I'm gonna go in with the shade Whiskey. I was thinking about going in with the shade Zero, but Zero is just gonna be way too dark. It's the darkest and blackest shade within the line. I think the concept of this is really cool. Apparently, it's supposed to mimic a pen, and it's supposed to be a lot easier to hold. I will say it is kind of easier to hold in my hand like this, so we'll see just how well I can create a wing. I haven't done a liquid eyeliner wing in a long time, so I may be a little rusty, but it's also a brush tip, which is cool. I was expecting felt, but definitely more of a brush. One thing I will say about the shade Whiskey is that it is really pretty. It's not too intense. This is a really good eyeliner. It's not bleeding. It's not settling into any fine lines. I also am obsessed with the color. The color, it's not too red. It's not too cool. It really is the perfect brown, which I feel like is really hard to do. For a while, I really, really loved the one from Charlotte Tilbury, but this compared to the one from Charlotte Tilbury is just way too red. This is so pretty. I also like that it's not super wet. Whenever you have an eyeliner that's like sopping wet, it's really easy to mess up. But with this, I was able to really control where the eyeliner was going and create a wing that is quite literally perfect. The question is, will I be able to replicate this on this eye? I don't think so. The lashes I'm gonna go in with are by Birdie Lashes. This is a new bundle called La Jefa. It comes with the Dream Lashes, the liner lash glue, and a newer style called Libra. I'm gonna use the style called Libra. I'm just gonna push up on my lashes a little bit so that way they're nice and lifted. I think that these are insanely gorgeous. They're definitely more on the dramatic side. You guys know my day-to-day lash is definitely the Impress press-on falsies, but these are very, very pretty. May even be my favorite style of Birdie Lashes right now, and that's saying a lot. But let's move on to the lips. I don't have like a brand new lip product to try and test out, but I do have the Pillow Talk Lip Cheek by Charlotte Tilbury. That was sent to me in PR. I have not tried this shade, so I want to see what it's all about. The lip liner is definitely giving your lips but better, but I need something just just a little deeper. So I'm gonna go in with the Makeup by Mario lip pencil. This one is in the shade Travis. It's right up my alley. It is deeper, and I think it's gonna complement the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick a lot better. For lipstick, like I said, I'm gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipstick. This is a lipstick, surprisingly enough, I do not own, but I've heard nothing but great things about. Oh, yes. One thing I want to add to this look is a little bit more of the Juvia's Place Liquid Illuminizer. And I am going to add it with a sponge. I'm going to use the clean side of this sponge and I'm lightly going to dab into it. And I'm going to press this on the highest points of my cheekbones. And the reason I'm using a sponge is because I definitely want this to be a little bit more soft and diffuse. I don't want it to be too intense. And that is really pretty. You guys see that? It definitely gives more of a luminous glow to the skin, which is exactly what we're going for. Definitely gotta finish off with a little bit of setting spray. So I'm just waiting for that setting spray to completely dry down. But while I wait, I definitely wanna do a little bit of an overview of the products I tried out in today's video. Air Glow Blush by Catrice, A1. I really love the way that this looks on my cheeks. It really gave me a really pretty luminous glow. I didn't have to go in with an additional highlight right in this area. I did really like the Liquid Illuminizer by Juvia's Place. It is a product I'm gonna continue trying in various ways. I love the way that this melted into the skin. It doesn't look like chunky glitter or anything like that. Definitely a plus, and I love that it's affordable as well. A product I am on the fence about is this one here by Pixi. I was so on the fence about it that I put it back in the packaging. If that tells you anything, but I just feel like this was not the perfect product to try in today's video because I was going for something a little bit more full glam. I feel like I would like this a little bit more on days where I'm wearing very minimal makeup, so I'll have to keep you guys updated on this. It was a little sticky to touch, and like I said, when you put it on the face, it really disturbed everything underneath, so the best way to apply this is with a brush. The Libra lashes by Birdie Lashes that came in this bundle are absolutely gorgeous. They are a little bit more dramatic than what you guys are typically used to seeing me in, but that doesn't make them any less great. They're very, very beautiful, but I feel like they're more of an occasional lash for me personally. This Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in Pillow Talk is gorgeous. I can't believe it took me so long to want to try this out. I don't know why I was on the fence. I was really into like those really pale warm tone nudes for a while, but more recently I've really been into a good pinky tone lip color, and the formula of Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks are just something special. A product I am still on the fence about is this one here by Revlon. It looked really pretty on the skin, very skin-like. It gave me medium coverage. It's definitely not a full coverage foundation. This is a foundation that still looks like skin when you put it on, but I want to continue playing around with it and I want to continue testing it for longevity and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for a future speed review on this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, these are the two videos that YouTube thinks that you should watch next. So make sure to check out these videos, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so that way you guys don't miss another video from me. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.